Hi, Jolette Gabrielle here. Thank you so much for joining me. It is now day 21 of my consistency challenge. And what am I being consistent with? I always must remind myself of this, is opening myself up to be a channel of light and blessings, moving people out of darkness and into light, and allowing for them to have a skill set in real time to move out of strong emotions that may be inappropriate in the moment and move back into harmony and balance with themselves. So strong feelings would be such as anger, frustration, let's say jealousy, let's say you've been triggered. That's yours. You know what I mean? Like, just because that person is being great or something's gone on in life doesn't mean you've got to flip out or you've got to be disrespectful to yourself or other people. But we've been taught throughout generations and our educational system and media to really react strongly to certain things. So if we can really just go within and realize that we are powerful, we can go into affecting change instead of this emotional reaction, which maybe will add to the chaos. All right, that's why I'm here, along with I'm on the quest for fitness and wellness, and the way that that would be reflected to me is abdominals. I know you're like, you're vain, whatever. Yes, I do have a little bit of that in me, but it's because as a person who does this work, I would like to be the picture of wellness. And I'm already, in a state where I need to sort of improve on certain things. Some people see gray hair as being sickness and deterioration, and then I point them to many great people that have had gray hair. Many point to autoimmunity as something that is unhealthy, and it is, but it's a learned behavior that I am working every day to unlearn. I have issues with a bulging disc in my lower back, my, lumbar spine, the L's, and the sacrum, and the first and second chakra has issues. But what does that mean? Does that mean I can't give back? Does that mean no, that's not what it means. It means I have even more potential to be great, because just as sick as you are is just as well as you can be. That pendulum does swing. So let's put that into action or practice and see if some of these principles of quantum mechanics, that if you focus on things that you can change them. And let's see if some of these things the greats have talked about and that I talk about work. Yeah, me and my hair. It's it's a loving relationship, trust me. There was a time where, this is how my hair grows out of my head. It's nappy, it's a little frizzy. I'm a little dry at times. I need to moisturize. However, there was a time when I really hated my hair. Consciousness stated that having nappy hair or hair that was coily was, unattractive. And to live with that and to try and get that happening to myself when my hair never grew out of my scalp that way was completely counterintuitive to self-loving me, to loving myself, loving me. So even just moving in that direction of letting my hair come out of my scalp and be nappy and being like, that's okay, that's still beautiful. Wow, that was even like to get out of that mind control. So I think we all can understand what it is like to be under this mind control, to be programmed to believe that loving yourself is actually an act of, going against society. So, we've got a lot of work to do. But first, let's focus on consciousness. I did a little bit of work or research on consciousness because I really wanted today's meditation to focus on that. So let's get a little bit of understanding about consciousness. Now, it's defined as a state of being aware of oneself and the world, and it includes one's thoughts, feelings, and memories. Okay, so we know that we need to work in our thoughts, our feelings, and our memories. Now, memories would be past lives. Now, not only are we remembering yesterday or some information we need to remember for work or whatever, but we're also having memories from a long time ago being held in our cells, from past lives, past experiences. I mean, so much. So the work is to kind of pull out some of this, to get rid of some of these past memories that are clouding us or causing virus, disease, and illness in our life. Now, it also is a function of the human mind that receives, processes, and stores information. And it has several purposes. It processes information, it chooses actions, right? Now, we've all, especially if you're of a certain age, you've chosen a lot of actions throughout this life based on what other people said, what other people wanted, and what the others that came before you did. So there's a lot of like detaching from that needs to take place so that you can choose actions that align better with you and your purpose and your spirit, setting priorities, right? So this part of the brain, your consciousness, sets priorities. Do we work with our consciousness? Do we tell our consciousness what our priorities are? And we say, well, our consciousness is a part of us, it just knows. True. But if we don't engage with these parts of ourselves, if we don't engage with spirit, what are our expectations? What are we planning and setting up for ourselves? Not much, right? So let's get into having our consciousness be clear on the priorities that we're setting in our lives, learning and adapting new information, right? So we need to stay open to that. Basically, our consciousness helps us stay open and vulnerable. You know, for some of us that are closed down, especially when you look at politics, people's minds are very closed in this way. That is mind control at its finest, because anytime that you're supporting people who are not supporting you, that's a huge disconnect, right? So learning and adapting new information, we really want to help bring that in and open ourselves up so that we can avoid this mind control and this lower vibrational energy that is really like a disease going around us now. They want to vaccinate you for something. They really need to start spiritually vaccinating people in the sense of infusing them with truth and positive energy. How about that? All right, making decisions. So making decisions is very important. And most of us have been misaligned to ourselves and how to make decisions that support ourselves. Now, no, there's a lot of people out there who are making decisions and who have learned, but sometimes that's also generational. You know, if your family and your ancestral line has been doing the right thing throughout generations, boom, here you are, or they've been set upon a path of righteousness, it does come down through your DNA, no question about it. And so does the opposite. So let's work to cleanse ourselves and our ancestral connection and our genetic coding of all the negativity that has been programmed into us. Because oftentimes it's not us that has done the damage. We've actually, like Greg Braden talks about, we're soft technology. You know what I mean? We are very malleable. But the only difference is a lot of other people have been given the power to sculpt us instead of the spirit and instead of our divine souls and purpose, right? So let's move on. Now, how do we unlock our consciousness? Consciousness is unlocked when brain has what's known as higher order mental representation. Now, mankind has a tendency to complicate things. So I had to go and I had to research, what is higher order mental representation? And they want to just make shit harder than it needs to be. But I'm going to read the rest of this to you and we'll go into breaking down what higher levels of mental representation and the lower levels are, okay? But it's usually in the higher levels of the brain that are responsible for cognition, like what? Figuring things out. Critically thinking and problem solving are just the words you need to know that represent higher order mental representation. So let's break it down. What is higher versus lower? So let's start with the lower. Lower order representation are also known as first order states. We're dealing with the brain. All right. And these represent the primary mental states, which are what? Perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. Primal. These are considered primal states. Perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. So imagine if you're someone like our government or a corporation and you're like, ooh, these primary mental states, let me get in there and let me start to, control or guide people's perceptions and their thoughts and their emotions, because we're well aware of what the cerebral cortex and the prefrontal cortex does. And those 50 million cells, like Greg Braden, this is fascinating. He talks about 50 trillion cells. And in those 50 trillion cells, we're talking about one cell contains 100 million atoms of consciousness. There's 50 trillion cells or more that make you up, and in each cell is contained 100 million atoms of consciousness. Think about that's amazing. All right, now, what is consciousness? Our consciousness is this field. It's a template, and what it does is it rolls over. So what it does is it emerges from the field, gives you your information. Then it collapses back into the field like a dance. So it's like this receiving and giving and receiving and giving in these cells. So what are you programming your cells? What kind of information are we giving them? Right? So now we get into the higher order states of consciousness, which I talked about, which is critical thinking and problem solving. So we can take our own selves and we can program our own cells. We can ourselves program our own cells. We have the power to do that. We can do that. So let's try it out. So I'm going to put my hands face up on my thighs, and this is a position that I use. If you want to lay down, that is fantastic. But the one thing you definitely want to have is back support. You don't want to have to be trying to get into a comfortable position while you're creatively visualizing. So whatever comfortable chair you have, you want to lay down, that's great. Keep your feet flat on the floor for the beginning parts of the meditation. Begin to breathe with the rhythm of your body, and just connect with your heart. And just love, just like, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm here. I know I don't pay any attention to you, that much, but I'm going to sit in you right now, and I'm going to send you love, and I'm going to command that you turn all the cells in my body, all of those cells, all of those atoms, heart-shaped. And just the blood, the DNA, all of that, just shower love on it. Just love. Whatever that looks like. And for me, it's just heart-shaped. So I see like these heart-shaped, what looks like bubbles, right? Because bubbles are you cannot count them. They're limitless and they're beautiful. But this is just clear, loving bubbles, just moving throughout my body and just loving me from my heart on out. And then, I do my thing with my astral body, snap it in, pull my aura in 1.5 feet around me, higher self above me, open my feet, hands, and crown. I start running energy. And then we start cleaning out them chakras. Anything I'm ready to let go of and release. Golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles blanket the inside and the outside of my grounding cord. And I just sit here and see all of that essence sprout out my feet, hands, and crown chakra, filling up my aura layers, moving out anyone else's energy, anything I'm ready to let go of and release. Boom, it melts down into Mother Earth. Open up my brow. I start to clean out the center of my head, thoughts, fears, perceptions, memories, no longer serving me. They got to go. There's the roses outside my aura, golden sun above my head, as I call all my energy back from those spaces and those places. And then we start to get into that cerebral cortex. That gold light just starts to pour in to that. And it moves into the pineal, the pituitary gland, all of that good stuff, the hippocampus, the amygdala. All right. So now the limbic system, it just gets poured gold light, all those memories from ancestral. So all the things that don't serve me that start in the limbic system, that primal energy, that jungle boogie right there, we're going to get that out. There's no need for me to act like that. There's no need for anybody in my field to act like that. We can talk. We can, come to peace and agreement, with myself and my environment. So then I move into my prefrontal cortex. I let that energy move through the cerebrum, the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata, let that do its thing. But I'm going to be in that prefrontal cortex real quick. And these cells here, I'm going to program with the things that I want. I'm safe. I am secure. I am financially prosperous. I am optimally healthy. I am a channel of light and blessings, and I love mankind. I stay open. I stay vulnerable. I stay coachable. I stay learning. I stay adaptable to all the things that align with the laws of the universe. Period. Positive energy. I open up my crown and I allow for that white light from the divine to come in, bing up all those chakras on the way down, bing, 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 lighten them up, restoring them back to 0 point, moving down the grounding cord. Boom. That's what we do, and into Mother Earth. Okay, so now that we've worked in the prefrontal cortex and we've said, look, this autoimmunity, it ain't working for me anymore. Whatever programming is in the DNA and in the cells, in those trillions of cells, in those atoms, we're going to reprogram them right now. We're going to reprogram them for immunity, divine immunity, golden sun above the head with divine immunity in it. Bring it down, move it through the prefrontal cortex, and then let it come throughout the body. And then I'll do my theta, positive teaching healing, negative teaching healing, trauma teaching healing. This is Lori Lamson's soul medicine. This is a proprietary kind of thing she put together, which encompasses positive teaching healing, what it looks like, smells like, looks, acts like, sounds like, everything that encompasses that positive behavior is encapsulated in a positive teaching and a healing. And then the negative teaching is everything that was really happening, everything that was out of alignment, and all the powerful and positive lessons from those times I made bad choices that did not support that divine consciousness and that divinity. And then the trauma is the trauma that was caused on an ancestral level from some of the past lives I may have had, decisions I made that didn't support me. Out. You got to go. Any of the karma, the spells, the curses, any of that. And the 4 levels that this trauma would be resolved on is genetic. Historical, we're only resolving and dissolving. But on a genetic, core, and soul level, we are to cancel, pull, delete, send to Creator's light, and replace with unconditional love for others and self and unconditional forgiveness. So now we have that divinity coming in, removing all doubt. Immunity. What was it? Divine immunity. So that's what we were doing. And now those cells get into that DNA, be reprogrammed. So now whatever autoimmunity I had, resolved and dissolved. And now we replace that with divine immunity. And we let those cells replicate, those telomeres. We get into those chromosomes and we tell them what to do. I need immunity, divine immunity in my body. Why? Because I'm a channel of light and blessings. And I need to be the picture of health so I can energize, harmonize, and wake up the health in other people in this world and moving people out of darkness into light. So a positive skill set is breathing with the rhythm of our bodies, recognizing our emotions and our strong reactions around feeling unsafe. Autoimmunity means I feel unsafe. My consciousness has a virus there. Take that out and let's reprogram that for immunity. And let's watch those cells move throughout my body and move out into my aura layer and out into the universe. So now I receive in messages that I am safe, having a body where my immune system is at optimal. My aura is going to send out the message that my immune system is optimal. My body is receiving the messages that my immune system is optimal. And my DNA is now receiving the message that my body, my energy is divinely optimal. And I'm sending that information back through my past to my ancestors and letting them know we are divinely safe and immune. Our immunity is at optimal. As this energy propagates throughout my body and moves forward to my progeny, and my children are optimally immune. My family is optimally immune. Their immune system is at optimal. And I push this out to everyone in my environment, that their immune system is at optimal in the highest and best way with grace and ease. Golden suns above everyone, everywhere who wants their immune system to be optimally healthy. Allow, with your permission, golden suns over their head, and we bring that down and we allow that to mix in with that earth energy and that 85% cosmic gold life force energy, moving out into our aura layer and affecting our environment so that we make decisions. I make decisions, choices, and I think and perceive and remember an optimally healthy immune system. And I send this information all throughout my body and into my environment and up into the heavens in the highest and best way with grace and ease. And I'm just going to sit here in my divine immune system and watch this energy go throughout my body and my aura layer out into the universe and bringing that back to me. And those atoms and cells collapsing back with that information and coming back with that information, giving that information, coming back with that information. I'm optimally healthy. My immune system is at 100%, recharged, restored, reinvigorated, ready to bring me back to optimal health. 0 point of human potential and possibilities of health and well-being. Transmuting and transforming all of the negative energy in me into positive creative life force energy in the highest and best way with grace and ease. I'm going to close my feet, my hands, my crown chakras, my brow. If it was open, give those roses a push. Blow them up, turn them into positive creative life force energy for anyone to use. My heart stays open. I stay grounded. The earth energy recedes. The gold light recedes. The white light stays with me as I stay with my soul architecture intact, and that energy has settled. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.